Ever since I was a kid, I've loved Spider-Man. I loved pretty much everything that included him, and as I got older, I started to play some of his many games. It was then that the dream of many young kids took over me. I wanted to be Spider-Man, and with the rise of virtual reality, that dream has become more and more attainable. But no dream shall be fulfilled by a subpar product. After searching far and wide, I found 3 contenders in making my childhood dream a reality. Join me as we find the best Spider-Man VR game, once and for all. Far From Home VR, the Unbreakable Gumball, and the Spider-Lair. 3 games, all with their strengths and weaknesses, and all competing for the title of the best. Together, we will analyze each of these 3 games, name one of them the best, and fulfill the childhood dreams of hundreds of millions. This is the hunt for the best Spider-Man VR game. Let us start where my hunt began. The year was 2020. I had just bought my brand new Oculus Quest. It looked like this. The dream of becoming Spider-Man was very much alive, and so I immediately began to search for games. Now, of course, this was back in the day where the Quest was still pretty new in the VR space, and so there was no official game on the store that could really make me Spider-Man. But I did find something. The Spider-Man WebVR game. WebVR. Get it? Like Spider-Man's webs.
Shut up. Get out.
This one's mildly cool because it's literally played over the internet, meaning you could probably play it on this thing, but other than that, it's pretty average. Your webs are kind of funky, and the momentum is not right at all. I guess it's fun if you enjoy pain, and I'm an SAO fan, so you can probably imagine the time I had with it. On the 21st of April, and after about 6 months of saving, I bought my brand new PC. Immediately I was excited as to the possibilities that this PC could bring about. One of those possibilities was PC VR. I went to the Oculus store for some reason and typed in Spider-Man. To my surprise, I actually found more than one game bearing the name, one tie-in game for Homecoming and for Far From Home. I read up on the reviews for both, and found that the Homecoming experience was barely a game, more of just a demo that teases you with being a game. Upon checking the reviews for the Far From Home experience, I found the consensus was actually pretty positive. People were speaking about how the game had such potential, and it made them excited for a AAA VR Spider-Man game. And after a few hours of playtime, I can certainly agree. But notice the makes me excited part. This little experience is far from perfect. Its world is ugly as hell, my arms are very not right, and the controls are absolutely rage-inducing. This probably shouldn't have come as too much of a surprise, considering that the developers of this game seem to have a track record of making shoddy VR games. But the gameplay, despite its god-awful controls, is actually pretty fun. You can crawl on walls, jump ridiculously high, shoot webs, and do basically whatever a spider can. I hate myself. Where the game begins to slip, however, is in the titular web-swinging mechanic. The main problem here is that the web swinging doesn't work as it should. Everyone knows that Spider-Man swings, right? Well, not in this game. Instead, your webs function more like a grappling hook that tether and pull you towards the thing you shoot them at. Instead of making deep arcs of my webs attached to skyscrapers, I end up pulling myself along the buildings. When you do manage to swing, it's slow and doesn't quite catch the exciting momentum that we see depicted in Spidey media. The main reason for this change is that sometimes when VR games using a large IP are made, they have to be altered to be more comfortable for VR users that might not have the same experience someone like me has. Now, don't get me wrong, this is great for the kinds of people that jump into their TVs playing Richie's Plank experience. Not so great for those of us who have clocked hundreds, if not thousands of hours into our headsets, and so look for a little bit more of an exciting experience. With this knowledge, it's pretty easy to spot in other games. The Valve devs have openly talked about how they designed Half-Life Alyx to accommodate all kinds of VR users, but the difference is, they made that game in a way that makes it fun for experienced players too, with a variety of different comfort options. But since Far From Home VR doesn't really give you the option to enable realistic swinging, it kind of alienates players like me. those who look for more thrilling experiences in their games. Because after you've poured as much time into VR as I have and many others have, the novelty of it just isn't enough. That being said, if we put aside the lackluster swinging, Far From Home VR is actually a pretty good Spider-Man experience, probably the best covered in this video. Every other mechanic besides the swinging, the climbing and jumping, are best in class. It's just, web swinging is the icon that either makes it or breaks it for a Spider-Man game. I'm sure you know of the discussion around Spidey swinging in his flat games and the high standard that it's held to. So why should this be any different? It became evident that Far From Home VR wasn't the game for me. So I resumed my search, and I ended up finding 2 more games that address the issues I had with it. Hey, one of my personal goals is to hit 500 subscribers before the end of this year, so if you're enjoying this video, you should subscribe.
What are you waiting for? Chinese New Year? Go, go, go!
One random afternoon, I don't know how long ago, I became interested in VR racing games. Still not knowing what was wrong with me, I searched the Oculus store for games in the genre. It was there that I found Swinger Man, a game that I took one look at, specifically the price tag attached to it, and said,
That's outrageous.
Not wanting to give Facebook any more money than I already had, I took to Steam, and I found the game was listed there at the same price as it was on the Oculus store. I once again checked the reviews. One reviewer was talking about how a game called the Unbreakable Gumball didn't support their Valve Index yet, and so they took to this game to quote-unquote scratch the same itch. Immediately I was intrigued. Could I be on the cusp of discovering yet another Spider-Man VR game? Setting aside Swinger Man for a moment, I quickly punched the name into the search bar, and found a listing under the same name. Before downloading the demo, I took a read through the store page. The Unbreakable Gumball is a slick superhero simulator with a comic book inspired art style. Equipped with your gum lines, you can swing around the city just like the famous webhead. I'll openly admit, Gumball was the game that I slept on the most. I originally played it months ago in preparation for this video, and initially I wasn't too keen on it. I found the art style distracting and some of the physics and gameplay unsatisfactory. But I'm glad to say that after jumping back into the game, it's grown on me like nothing ever has before. First things first, this game does not specifically attempt to emulate all of Spider-Man's abilities, thus there is no wall crawling here. However, the game completely and utterly makes up for it in its other mechanics. The web swinging is absolutely amazing. Unlike Far From Home VR, the webs actually work as they should, a momentum-based, pendulum-like simulation. Although at first it may feel like you have a lack of control, once you get used to it, it's a truly fulfilling feeling. Once you know how to do what you want to do, no other game on this list will give you a sense of achievement that even matches what Gumball gives you. And once you do get there, you flow through this cel-shaded cyberpunk metropolis like water. It's honestly remarkable. Not only do you swing at breakneck speeds, but you can also control your trajectory via your webs, and not something overly immersion breaking like a thumbstick. In the event you do slam your face into a building, you can quickly use your jump ability to get back into things, or use your superhero strength to yank yourself in the direction you want to go. You can even hold the trigger while you have a web out to repel yourself towards it. This comes in extremely handy. As oversaid as this is when it comes to video games, this game makes me feel like Spider-Man. I have his strength, speed, and intellect, and I'm entirely in control. There are so many moments where you think you're going to hit the ground but somehow shoot out a web that saves your life. It's absolutely exhilarating, and I don't think words can even properly describe it. But I'm not even finished yet. This game has something that all the other games on this list don't have. Something that increases the Spider-Man-ness drastically. This game has true Spider-Man combat. The game contains these dummies that act as enemies and are placed around the environment. Although they don't actively try to kill you, using your gum lines to fight them is some of the most fun I've ever had in VR. With the systems in place, the ways you can dispatch these enemies are probably endless. Want to web an enemy, throw them in the air, then slam them back into the ground? You can do that. Want to soar into the air, web the ground, and pile drive an enemy into the pavement? You can do that too. Want to pull an enemy towards you, deck them in the jaw, then launch them in the air? You can do it. You can even shoot web shots, or gumballs as they're referred to in this game, and take your enemies out that way. You can also charge up a super jump that can give you the momentum needed to start swinging, or to just drop kick an enemy, I guess. And all of this insane gameplay takes place in the beautifully presented city of Elysia. No, not that Elysia. This Elysia. Rendered in a strikingly attractive cel-shaded art style and constantly undergoing a day-night cycle. At day, the graphics pop with black outlining, making the world look like a living comic book. At night, the stunning moonlight creates a moody atmosphere with its blue hue. Bored of the city? You can literally go underneath it, and there's a completely different environment to swing around in. I didn't even realize this was here until a day before recording this. And to top all of this off, the soundtrack absolutely kicks spider ass. I honestly don't think I can overstate how much I love this game. The mechanics, the music, the graphics, they all come together and make me feel more like Spider-Man than any other game on this list. Even if when I look down at my hands I see sci-fi gauntlets. As far as I'm concerned, the Unbreakable Gumball is the best Spider-Man VR game. But there's actually more. Remember that game whose reviews informed me of Gumball's existence? Yeah, Swingerman, that one. I ended up going back onto the Steam store and buying the game after initially not liking Gumball the first time I played it. And, Swingerman is garbage.
Crap, mega crap.
Swingerman is a finicky experience that literally says it's not fun on the Steam store page. I'm not joking, that's actually what it says. It has this strange method of controlling your trajectory based upon the position of your hand in relation to the contact point of your web. Holy crap, that was a long sentence. On paper it sounds okay, but when you play it, it's awful. On top of that, for some strange reason you can't just move around normally with a joystick. You physically can't. And finally, I'm not sure if it's just because I play it via Oculus Link with a USB 2.0 cable, but the game performs like a keynote presentation 90% of the time. It has to be bad optimization because I literally played Half-Life Alyx all the way through with the exact same cable and saw next to no issues. Don't waste your money on this. Gumball is literally free and it provides an infinitely better experience. So in the end I did waste my money, but at least it didn't go towards Facebook and hence world domination, right? VRchat. Everyone's favorite VR social platform that has all but been ruined by young children. Clearly one wasn't enough. I've never really spent that much time in VRchat. As an introverted guy, it all seems very intimidating to me, but even though I never really spent that much time in the game itself, I knew all about its insane versatility when it comes to world building. Nowhere is that more exemplary than in the Spider-Lair. Go web! Fly. The Spider-Lair is a VR chat world that attempts to emulate the web-swinging experience in both VR and in flat screen. The world also contains a large variety of costumes that you can wear. 2099, Miles Morales, whatever the hell this is. If you want it, it's probably there, except for the best suit, aka the TASM 2 suit, which isn't there but is coming soon, at least at the time of recording this. In terms of gameplay, the Spider-Lair has a leg up on the second game in this video, as it also shows off realistic swinging physics. Unlike Gumball, the world also allows you to wall crawl and to launch yourself in the direction you're facing. The ability itself is quite versatile and could even be used as another form of traversal all by itself. And the city itself actually looks quite good. It's definitely a step above Far From Home VR and a great substitute if you're not into the art style of Gumball. All in all, the fact that this is achieved in a VR chat world is utterly incredible, and another great thing is that it's playable on the Quest, which not all of its competitors are. But where the experience falls short for me is how it makes me feel. You probably recall me saying that Gumball makes me really feel like Spider-Man, and the way this game makes me feel is just like a regular dude in a costume. Take for example flinging myself with my webs. In Gumball, if I want to start swinging, all I need to do is web a building and then pull on my webs to launch myself in the air, and off I go. If I want to start swinging in the Spider-Lair, I either have to climb up a tall building and jump off, slowly gain momentum through jumping and webbing up a building, or hitting one of these launch pads. All this does is make me feel weak. I feel like Spider-Man would have the strength to fling himself upward using his webs, but this is lacking from the Spider-Lair. One thing I've noticed is that your webs in the Spider-Lair are kind of elastic and bouncy, whereas in Gumball, the webs are taut and don't really vary in size. This might be for some people, but personally it's just not for me. But let's look at more positives that the Spider-Lair has. It's the only game in this video that is multiplayer, meaning you can jump in and play with friends. I can only imagine the amount of fun that would be. This experience also has a lot more world-based interaction as well. There's a train, which is sure to bring some Raimi fans to life, and a helicopter that, when webbed, will send you absolutely flying. And as I said, this experience is playable on the Quest and for free, which enables dozens more people to fulfill their dreams as I have. I mean, if you're on Quest, your only other option is this. I think I know which one I prefer. The last time I made a video like this, that is, comparing things to find the best of something, was the VR Guns video, my first ever MiniDoc. In the video, I strictly identified Pavlov as my favourite VR shooter for a couple different reasons. However, back then it was easy to identify which one I liked the most, because guns are a sort of arbitrary thing that don't really hold any sort of emotional weight. What I'm trying to say here is that I like all of these games. That's not only because they all offer good gameplay in some way, but because they're all trying to encapsulate the feeling of being a character that has been a role model to me for so many years. And when you truly love something, I don't think it really matters what form that something appears in. Now, I'm sure any Spider-Man fan knows of the arguing and the vitriol among the fandom about the best live-action iteration of the character. Personally, I'm one of few people whose favourite Spider-Man is Andrew. I'm sure nostalgia has something to do with it, given that the TASM films were coming out when I was young, but I do love Tobey and Tom as well. But what's important here is it doesn't matter which actor you prefer, or which franchise is your favourite. The only thing that matters is that we all love Spider-Man. In the end, there is no definitive best Spider-Man VR game, other than the game that you take, enjoy, and call your own. And so it doesn't matter which game you prefer. It doesn't matter if you love Far From Home VR, the Spider-Lair, or Gumball. They're all great games that we play because we want to be like our heroes, and that is something that should never ever be ignored. I think when we were kids, we all thought that we'd need web shooters and spider powers to have what it takes, but I realize now that we can be Spider-Man whenever we want. Because whatever comes our way, whatever battle we have raging inside of us, we always have a choice. Peter Parker taught me that. He chooses to be the best of himself. It's the choices who make us who we are, and we can always choose to do what's right. And if you can do that, you don't need a VR headset to be Spider-Man. You don't need some perfect feature-packed game to feel like him. If you can do that, you are Spider-Man.
Welcome back. Hi, I'm on camera.